You can't ride in my little red wagon. You can't ride in my little red wagon. Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging. Front seat's broken and the axle's dragging. Chugga, 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 chugga. Second verse, a whole lot louder and a whole lot. Welcome back to the Nick Bartlett Show, everybody. We have switched from the podcast format of last year over here to the YouTube video format, and we are back right in time for Pac-12 football season, baby. I'm pretty freaking excited. Just upgraded my cable right before the season. You know how it is. You guys know how it is. Football is back, and in all seriousness, last year was such a weird year that it's just going to be really cool to see fans in the stands and things like that. Just, for me, having fans in the stands is just a really, really cool element. Obviously, you're expecting less cancellations and players to be in and out of the lineup, so should be a greater sense of normality, even though it isn't normality yet. With that being said, we're talking about the Pac-12, baby. We are talking about the Pac-12, and there's a lot of kind of new things and a lot of things that haven't necessarily changed, so we're going to start right off the top with what hasn't changed. And the two teams this year essentially going to be the USC Trojans and Oregon Ducks. Those two teams can be favored to win the conference. I'd say most analysts are probably going to go with Oregon, but those are going to be the two teams you're going to likely hear. Maybe Washington by someone who, I don't know. Washington has some receiver troubles this year. But let's get into Oregon and USC right away. After that, we're going to talk about the UCLA Hawaii Week 1 matchup. I did a little article with the Hawaii reporter, so we're going to give you some of his quotes, get you a little information on Hawaii, and I'll give you my take on the Bruins as well. And if you've been with me for a while, since the Dade and Nick show, the Nick Bartlett show, you already know that we're going to end the show with Bartlett's random topic of the day, where who knows what I'm going to talk about. You really have no freaking idea. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get here talking about some Pac-12 football. So, first thing on my agenda today is going to be the Oregon Ducks. I think, as I stated, they're going to be the team that's, predominantly favored by most analysts. And the first thing I'm going to look at with them is Mario Cristobal. I'm not necessarily sold on him as a head coach. I think a lot of others think of him as just this elite coach, and I haven't necessarily seen that. The main thing I've seen is he had a good year with Herbert, but it wasn't like that good of a year. They struggled against ASU. I mean, they lost ASU, granted, a young, what's his name? How am I forgetting my dude's name right now? I don't know, Jaden Daniels, Jesus. we're two minutes in the show. So, in all seriousness, though, if you're looking at his overall record here, let me pull up some stats I'd written down. 2018, 9-4 record with a red box win. That's nothing for Oregon. Oregon's a good program. Come on now. And the COVID year, they were 4-3 with an embarrassing Fiesta Bowl loss. I'm not going to read into that one too much. So the thing is, under Cristobal, I just want to see more. I felt like with that Herbert year, it just didn't add up. What do you want me to say? You guys expected more. Ducks fans out there expected more. And as the Pac-12 conference, we all expected more. Seems like a stand-up guy. A lot of people vouch for him. I have nothing negative to say about him per se, but I just want to see him do more. I want the Ducks to really become that elite college football playoff type team, and I didn't feel like they've really been there the last 3 years. Close that Herbert season, but again, just never really clicked. Kind of up and down that year, and obviously the catastrophic loss to ASU, that fourth down play, man, that probably hurt. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I just said that twice. So that's enough beating up on Cristobal. Let's scroll down a little bit further here. What else we got on the agenda today? Other things we got, baby? Okay, I'm right-clicking, guys. Technical difficulties. I think they teach you that one in preschool. The second thing, and most notably, I think everyone knows this, you've been following the conference really carefully, is who's going to step up at quarterback. Everyone assumes Anthony Brown is going to be the guy, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same. The old saying, gosh, I hate cliches, but you guys know what it is. Bottom line, I wanted to give you a unique take on him, so I pulled up some stats actually from his Boston College days, and I'll give you those. Because he had really limited action last year. He had a couple touchdown passes, I believe, in the Pac-12 championship game for touchdown runs, and he played in the Fiesta Bowl as well. Don't quote me on those exact two statistics, but he did play in both those games, which is not enough to go on. I mean, good opponents, but not enough to go off of. However, the year before transferring over to Oregon, at Boston College, he killed it. As a junior in 2019, in his first 6 games, he threw for 1,250 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. During this stint, his completion percentage was 59.1. That does leave a little bit to be desired, to be fair, but I think with Oregon's athletes, that should make up pretty easy. I mean, Oregon ain't Boston College. Like, come on. You would expect that number to rise at the least. I mean, again, Oregon athletes versus Boston College athletes, So, bottom line, who's going to step up for the Ducks quarterback? Can Anthony Brown be the guy? They have enough pieces really everywhere else, and I just want to see this. Obviously, Tyler Shuck transferring out. I liked him. I know a lot of Ducks felt kind of mixed feelings. He wasn't like loved or hated, but either way, new reign, new opportunity for Anthony Brown to make his name, or maybe one of the young freshmen, if I believe it's Ty Thompson who could beat him out. You never know. Unlikely, but you do never know. Last thing I want to talk about the Ducks today is their defense, and this isn't some crazy, like, mind-blowing thing here. Just going to read you a quick stat. And last year, I think a lot of people got on the Ducks defense for, like, no reason. They lost a lot of talent. That's why I actually didn't pick them to win the North last year, or the conference, to be fair. I picked the Huskies, but not this year, but last year. And I think that, just let me read the statistic. There's nothing I can say. The stat says it all. Essentially, in 2020, they allowed 28.3 points per game, which was 59th in the nation. That was last year, the COVID year. But if you look at it, they lost Javon Holland, Thomas Graham Jr., Brady Breeze. I mean, it makes sense why they struggled. All those players opted out. You could even throw Penei Sewell in there because if he's on offense, still controlling the offensive line, maybe change the time of possession factor a little bit. So they lost a lot. And this was a team, again, 28.3 points per game and 59th in the nation. The prior year, though, they had a top 10 defense in the country, ranked 9th, only allowing 16.5 points per game. I mean, that's top-notch stuff. And, I mean, if they can return to that form, baby, whew, that's nice. So I expect them to. There's a bunch of big names. This is the Ducks. This is Oregon. Obviously, it's not USC level, but Eugene deserves respect. They built up a heck of a football program, and I'm excited to see what they do this year, really. Bottom line, I think they should, not going to make any cold, hard projections, but I think that this team should easily win the North in a year where it does feel weakened, where Washington's down, the end of David Shaw possibly, and Cal still doesn't really have an offense. Do they know what offense is? You know what I'm saying? But before we leave Oregon, there are a couple names I do want to shout out here. I don't know why I'm looking at my freaking screen. Essentially, everyone knows Kayvon Thibodeau, we got Noah Sewell, and Verone McKinley III. Those are going to be your 3, I'd say maybe not best players, Kayvon Thibodeau for sure, but 3 very notable names in their defense, and they have playmakers at every level. Bottom line, Oregon's going to be nasty. How long I talked for, guys? Where are we at here? Scroll down the notes. Oh, it doesn't tell me how long I've been talking for? That's great. Oh, yeah, it does. Dang, I talked about the Ducks for 9 minutes, guys. Okay. No, I had some intro time in there. I had some intro time out there, Beaver and Husky fans. I know Husky fans be getting mad right now. So, the next team, anyways, we're going to talk about here is going to be the USC Trojans. And we're actually going to start with the coaching end. It's weird that we got to go this route, but it is all about Clay Helton and USC. The faithful hate him. The faithful absolutely hate the guy. Personally, I think he's actually done a decent job. However, I was a big-time Clay Helton defender for a long time. This year may be the year where it's like, if he can't get it done this year, I think he does have to be fired. But I do want to say that he still does have a Rose Bowl and a conference championship. However, it's been quite a while, man. And they had 2 really kind of troublesome years in recruiting, which is kind of odd for USC. I think a lot of people think that the recruiting went completely downhill, which is actually a fallacy. It's like, I don't know why people don't just look that up themselves, but here's some numbers out about the recruiting under Clay Helton. So it's not quite as bad as like you may think, you know what I'm saying? Essentially, what do I got here, baby? By the way, I think I was bobbing my head when I was reading this earlier on. Like, this was some rap music or something. All right. So, essentially, if you're looking at the recruiting numbers here, in 2019, USC had the fourth best class in the conference and 20th nationally. And other programs, like, that's good. That's atrocious by USC standards. But here's the year where people probably really tend to lean their bias towards. And in 2020, they fell to last in the conference and 64th overall. I mean, last in the conference and you're the USC Trojans, that's not cool. I've been defending Clay Allen all along. That's not cool, and that's why I had to knock him down from like a here to here. I still think he's like a here. He's kind of like creeping. But if he don't get it done this year, kick him out of town. However, this is where the fallacy does kind of play in a little bit. And so in 2017, 2018, and this year's 2021 class, they've all been top 10 nationally. So it just may have been one of those things. You know what I'm saying? It may have not been like some huge problem. You know, just maybe a down year, even though 12th nationally, or 12th in the Pac-12 for USC. That's not freaking cool ever. Like ever. I feel like I'm glaring at my cameras as I say that. So yeah, that's gonna be the main thing. Can Clay Allen get it done this year? It's USC. The talent's obvious there. And speaking of the talent, the main duo I'm gonna be looking forward to, definitely most excited to see in the Pac-12 this year, is gonna be the combination of Keaton Slovis and Drake London. Drake London is nasty, bro. He's nasty, bro. So I mean, see, I got so if y'all need a quick refresher on Keaton Slovis, think you know who he is, but maybe give you a nice little reminder heading into the season. Essentially, see what we got here on Keaton. His name's Keaton, not Keaton, by the way, guys. So his freshman year, when JT Daniels went down with that season-ending injury, Keaton Slovis really stepped up. I think it was something like 3,500 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. That's absolutely disgusting for a freshman. That was benefited by having Michael Pittman Jr. I'll have more on that comparison in a second here. But yeah, I mean, that's just absolutely freaking disgusting, like, as a freshman. In his sophomore year, the numbers did drop off a little bit. I think it's around like 1,700 yards, something like that. Let me double check that one. Yeah, oh, excuse me. It was 1,900 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Did I read that right? 7 interceptions. Let me reread that one. So in his sophomore year, last year in the COVID year, 1,921 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. So as he enters this year, he's widely projected as the best quarterback in the Pac-12. However, I think that with the exception of, well, I don't even know where I was going with that. Essentially, what I was trying to say is I think that having Drake London back and really emerging as the dominant receiver this year, I think that's what's going to take Keaton Slovis to the next level. Ultimately, losing Michael Pittman Jr. really hurt him after his freshman year. The Trojans had, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyler Vaughns, and Brew McCoy. Not this year. Got suspended if y'all haven't heard. But, yeah, I mean, they just didn't have that elite guy. And I think Drake London gives you that blanket you can throw to. And he's an absolute freak of nature guy. He's a freak, dude. So that combination, again, I'm most excited to see that. I'm pumped. Like, pumped. That's just fun stuff. And Drake London, man. NFL draft boards actually called him Frankenstein in a good way. So that should give you kind of an idea of his abilities. I believe they said something along the lines. This isn't a direct quote. This is going to be more of a paraphrase. But they said something along the lines of, he's that big-bodied receiver with freakish speed as well. I never saw that speed, per se. Like, I never saw it. But if NFL draft boards are saying that, obviously that is their full-time job while I'm covering the Pac-12. So if they say he's NFL speed, I'm going to believe him on that. So I want to see the speed, but bottom line is he's going to be a freak to throw to. And he really came on towards the end of last year. That's why I didn't maybe have as much hype entering the season last year in the COVID year. But this year, he's going to have the hype. Let's see here. So in the last 3 games of the year, and this is including the Pac-12 championship, he had 18 receptions, 264 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Both those touchdowns came in the crosstown rivalry. So just doing really good things throughout the year. I mean, and man, I think he's what's his credentials here? His fundamentals. I think he's like 6'5", 210. Let's see if I wrote that one down. Yeah, he's I was gonna lie to you guys. No, I wouldn't do that. He's 6'5", 210. So for USC, that combination is really what I want to see. The Keaton Slovis Drake London combination. It's going to be nice. Last thing we got today is going to be the USC shotgun running. This is going to be quick and to the point. Let me read some stats from USC football. USC football, not WSU or like, I don't know, a team that has historically struggled, maybe an Oregon State. USC last year had the worst rushing attack in the Pac-12, only averaging 97.3 yards per game and only 3 yards per carry. 3 yards per carry! Like, come on. And I'm just going to say that it's that stupid shotgun, whatever they run. I don't know why they try it. They just run up in the I formation, with the exception of a handful of teams. You're talking to Washington, you're talking to Oregon, you're talking to Arizona State, Utah. USC could line up and run dive against most teams and win in the trenches, so it doesn't make sense. Seems like very pedestrian coaching, to be quite frank. Sorry, Clay, or the offense coordinator, in terms of the rushing attack. It's been abysmal. The stats speak for themselves. And again, as someone who loves the Pac-12, you need to get that fixed. That's not cool. That's not right. And it may be the one thing holding them back, because I'm not even going to talk about the defense. They'll probably figure that out under Todd Orlando. But that rushing attack, man, that's bad. And Veve Malapea is more of a banger anyway. Is he still there this year? Either way, he's more of a banger last year. I think he's back this year. So, yeah, you got to stop running this shotgun crap if you want to beat the big teams and the big boys and the Notre Dames and all those teams that USC is supposed to beat, because you are the Trojans, the Pete Carroll dominant teams of my childhood, and you need to get back to that and be able to rush the ball for more than 3 yards a carry. So that's going to be the last thing to consider this year for the Trojans. Maybe that's a little angry, guys. With the UCLA Hawaii preview, how long have we talked about the Trojans, guys? Just so you know, too, I'm trying to keep you. We're at about 17 minutes here. I don't like wasting your guys' time. I appreciate your guys' viewership. I really do. And so, I'm going to try and keep this show no more than 25 minutes ever, that 15 to 25 minute range. Obviously, maybe we have a really special guest on, or a conference championship, make it a little longer. But, you guys got lives. You guys know what it is. For real. So I'll keep it short, guys. Last thing is going to be the Hawaii UCLA preview. And as I mentioned, I did an article. I can link it in this YouTube video here. And it was done with Stephen Tsai, I believe. That's my mistake. That name's wrong. So that's my mistake. But I believe it's Stephen Tsai, and he is of the Honolulu Star Advertiser. And he had a couple of quotes on Hawaii to give you some thoughts of what to expect. For UCLA, I'm not going to give you a breakdown. I'm not sold on them. I don't think DTR is that good. I like that backup quarterback. I think his name's like Chase Griffin. It's been a little bit. I may be wrong on his name, but I like that backup quarterback a lot. I think if they give him some play, they could be good. But I've never been a big guy on DTR. I think that he's come a long way, but I don't think he necessarily has the skills to get it done for UCLA and win when it matters most. And I'm just not a big DTR fan. The Chip Kelly X and O's, I'm not going to speak on that. I just don't think DTR can get it done. So UCLA this year, I'm not too high on. I know a lot of others are in the South, or very high on UCLA in the South, with teams like ASU obviously having their recruiting troubles, and Utah still rebuilding on the offense side of the ball. But I still just don't see it under DTR. But with UCLA, they do have some talent on defense. They do have some talent on offense. And I'm thinking they should handle Hawaii pretty easily, all that being said. However, if you do want a little information on Hawaii, because I like Hawaii football. I know I'm a Pac-12 guy. I can't front see that smile. I may have smiled more about them than anyone else today. I love Hawaii football. I don't know why. But so a couple quotes about from Stephen Tsai. And again, he covers them locally, Honolulu Star Advertiser. And so I asked him, I believe Todd Graham is their coach now, and Todd Graham switched them over to essentially more of a slow it down type offense. And I asked him how people on the island are going to adjust to that, because do they want to see points, things like that. And essentially he said with Chevin Cordero's quick release and Calvin Turner's playmaking provide excitement. So they got a couple of playmakers there. Chevin Cordero's obviously the quarterback. I'm not sure if Calvin Turner is, he doesn't really have a position. Essentially, he's a combination running back, wide receiver, kick returner, and Sai said that he's a special player, so he should be nasty. And he also added that UH had an experienced offensive line. So some things on Hawaii, again, just from an athletic standpoint, you're thinking the Bruins are going to handle it pretty easily. I like their offense. They got Dulcich. They got Kyle Phillips, Greg Dulcich. I like those two, that combination. I really like Britton Brown at running back if he gets some carries. So I think they should be able to handle Hawaii pretty easily. And that's it for games this week, which means Bartlett's random topic of the day. I'll be pretty excited though when we got more than one game to talk about. I mean, like more equal matchup. But hey, and don't, guys, word of caution here, don't sell out on week 1 and watch 47 games. We got a freaking season. I used to do that. Like, pace yourself, ladies and gentlemen. But anyways, if you've been with me for a while, essentially I do something called Bartlett's random topic of the day. And today's, I'm starting with a little bit more real. These can be funny. They can be goofy. I think I've talked about my love for oatmeal, for example. I don't even know what I've talked about. Some random-ish. But today I'm going to start with a little bit serious because we are in the middle of a global pandemic still. And there's just a lot of things that may trouble people on the news. Nothing against the news, not like that. Just there may be some troubling things. And just remember to take care of your mental health. Like, especially for males out there and all of us in the sporting world, you guys know how it is. Like, we all played, well, I can say most of us probably played team sports growing up. And, you know, like, mental health and guys, we just want to act so tough, so macho. It's not cool, man. If you're feeling sad, talk about it. You got to cry, man. It's not down the road. You got to yell. Maybe, like, find a safe place to yell. But, you know what I'm saying? But, like, do what you got to do because mental health is serious. It's very important. And with everything going on in the world, we got to look out for each other. We're all the same, man. We're all people, man. We all love football. You think I'm just talking like freaking in the camera for no reason? You know what I'm saying? I love football. You guys love football. That's why you're here with me. So I love basketball too, though. But seriously, just we're all the same, guys. Take care of each other. Check in with each other. Show compassion, empathy. It doesn't mean you have to feel bad for people. People in their situation, they still got to work for where they're at. They are where they're at because maybe because they didn't work. And everyone has their own journey. But that doesn't mean you can't be compassionate, show empathy, and be loving. And I'm going to keep that short because I think we're at about 25 minutes, and I made y'all a promise. Seriously, though, take care of your mental health, y'all. If you need to have a beer from time to time and watch a game, by all means, frickin' do it. Like, step away. If you like building stuff, do that. If you like cars, do that, man. If you like walking in the woods, do that. Whatever it may be. Yoga, man. Playing with your dog. Just whatever that time of peace is, find time for it. That's so valuable for your mental health. That's all I got, guys. on that. So, yeah, we're about 22 minutes. Hey, we are in a decent time frame, baby. Okay, so in the inaugural episode concluding today's show, I just want to say, essentially, first off, thank you all for tuning in. And for those of you who have been with me since the very beginning, hoo-ha, 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 been with me from the very beginning, thank you for your loyal viewership and your fanship. Those new to the channel, program, me, podcasting, Sports Back 12, whatever it may be, hit that like, subscribe button. You already know what it is. I never thought I was going to say that in my life. I felt like I may have twitched when I said that. But seriously, show all the support because without you guys, this is impossible. And I'm just grateful y'all here. Concluding today's episode, we broke down that Oregon and USC are still going to be the favorite teams in conference. I failed to talk about the Huskies. I think I said I would have. Essentially, we're not going to do it if I didn't do it in the show. So Oregon and USC, both very talented. And for Oregon, they really need to figure out the quarterback situation. I believe their defense will bounce back. And I want to see Mario Cristobal prove himself. For USC, Drake London and Keaton Slovis, absolutely phenomenal combination. Just they should be the best in the Pac-12. They need to stop doing that stupid shotgun running thing. And this is Clay Helton's final year to really get it done. In terms of the UCLA-Hawaii game, I'm personally not big on DTR. I think he's highly overrated quarterback. But UCLA should have enough on the offensive end and defense side of the ball to handle Hawaii. But it won't be easy. Hawaii's a good team. Hawaii's a good team for real. They always are. And Hawaii, most notable player is probably going to be quarterback Chevin Cordero and the Calvin Turner, who is going to be their kick returner, running back, and wide receiver combination. And concluding today's episode, we talked about mental health, y'all. Take care of your mental health. It's, again, in our masculine, sports world society. I grew up as a hooper. Y'all may have played football. We didn't talk about our feelings or nothing. There's nothing wrong with sitting down and, just being you and staying healthy mentally. It is very, very important. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to the inaugural YouTube premiere of the Nick Bartlett Show. It has been a lot of fun. And, hey, we got some football, baby. Upgraded that cable package. We got some football, baby. All right. And, yo, for those of you who've been with me for a while, I'm changing the tagline, okay? I had to give you a fair warning. So instead of Cheetos and tuna, R.I.P. Cheetos and tuna. We're on the 25-minute mark. We out here. R.I.P. Cheetos and tuna. Hello, olive oil and hummus.